morning to you. What are the expectations here for Tuesday's referral? And you know how long this whole process is?
Night on essentially a report, a list of recommendations as to why Steve Bannon should be held in criminal contempt of Congress, and that could be punishable if the House passes it and it's referred to the Department of Justice where they decide to take it up. It could be punishable up to a year of a jail time for Bannon and some pretty expensive fines. But look, the committee's determined to do this in part because they want to make an example of what happens if you defy Congress. Val Demings is one of the Democrats who is quite pleased the committee is taking this step, despite how long it might take. She told our Tiffany Cross yesterday why she's happy the committee is taking this step and voting on criminal contempt. Take a listen. So Demings there, she was an impeachment manager during the first Senate trial of former President Trump. That was nearly a year and a half ago. But she's quite familiar also because she sat on the House Intelligence Committee and the House Judiciary Committee where she tried to get former Trump officials back then.
The committee is moving quickly against Steve Bannon.
Tuesday night, they'll hold a vote whether to hold Steve Bannon in contempt of Congress. If that passes, which they believe it will, it'll go on to the full House for a vote. And if that passes, Speaker Pelosi will then refer it to Biden's Department of Justice, where Bannon could drag this out if they decide to prosecute. Consequences in the end. But maybe the larger reason for this, I'm told, by members of the committee and sources and aides I've been speaking to over the last 24 hours election, calling it a stolen election, making false election claims. He also himself called it a litmus test as to whether a potential right-wing candidate considers the 2020 election stolen or not. So the committee has had it with him and they want to hear from him. But look, some House Democrats are worried that Bannon could drag this out. Here's Congressman Ted Lieu. He was on MSNBC yesterday. Take a listen. Congressman Ted Lieu, he was on the House Judiciary Committee. He's familiar with trying to get former Trump allies to testify and attempt to conduct congressional oversight. So, unfortunately, if the...
From Julie Tsirkin, who joins us from Capitol Hill. Julie, welcome to you. And as we noted, a big week ahead for lawmakers. And one of the most watched votes is going to be taken by the January 6th committee on Tuesday night.
Yeah, that big vote is going to happen in the committee on Tuesday. As you mentioned, they're going to consider whether to hold Steve Bannon in contempt of Congress for defying his subpoena the last 2 weeks. And then after that, the committee is confident they will pass. So despite how long this process might take, if you had any doubts that the committee was united on this, well, you heard it there from Adam Kinzinger.
Okay, Julie, thank you so much for that update from Capitol Hill. We'll see you again. Well, as provocative headlines is joining me now. And Julie, Tuesday is potentially a big day for the Select Committee investigating the January 6th Capitol riots. What are you expecting?
Well, Alex, we're expecting the criminal referral to pass out of the committee on Tuesday night before it heads to a vote before the full House soon after. We don't yet know the exact time, but it will happen swiftly, we are told. And then it's sure to be a long and tedious process if the department... So listen, Schiff there, he's a member of the committee. He wants this to wrap up quickly because the committee doesn't have all the time in the world. And he went on to say there, it's in part because of fears that what happened in this Capitol on January 6th could happen again soon, with all the rhetoric being stowed still by the former president, by Steve Bannon, who they want to hear from, and by his allies. Alex?
Okay, thank you for that. Lawmakers are framing this vote as sending a message to anyone thinking about defying congressional subpoenas, including potentially Donald Trump.
Alex, exactly right. Many Democrats on the House Select Committee have conducted oversight of the Trump administration. Congressman Kinzinger, they're very much leaving the door open for this, but what he said there about it being a circus, you can imagine how that would play out with the former president fighting tooth and nail even now to prevent his former aides from testifying, from handing over documents, asserting all kinds of executive privileges. So it remains to be seen if this would be worth the committee's time. But as you heard there, if they need to do it, they will.
Okay, Julie Tsirkin, thank you so much for that. Meanwhile, everyone